Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. About half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Luke Johnson from Saints Camp. Bit of a subdued practice today for New Orleans. They get ready to ramp things up tomorrow and Friday with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So some joint practices before the preseason game coming up over the weekends. We'll talk to Luke in 15 minutes. It's What If Wednesday. Get some of those at the bottom of the hour. We'll restart our Meet the Freshman series that we've done every August moving forward. We'll get to that coming up at the top of hour number 2. Kellen Moore met with the media today, so we'll hear what he had to say. And LSU was on the practice field last night. I was there. We'll start there with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
So by now, I think we've got this figured out with LSU in fall camp under Lane Kiffin, at least in 2026. We're going to see, as the media, the same stuff every day. I was waiting to make that proclamation after a week of camp and when the pads went on, but they did last night. LSU was in full pads, and we're seeing the same stuff. I can now tell you what's going to be going on every field from the time I walk onto that practice field to the time I walk off. On the offensive field, the quarterbacks are going to start with the running backs, and they're going to do some handoff stuff. And then the quarterbacks are going to jog down and go throw with the tight ends. The running backs are going to go and work with Kevin Smith on fundamentals and cuts, footwork. The wide receivers are going to do their blocking drills to start. Once the quarterbacks finish with the tight ends, the quarterbacks and wide receivers go throw, and the tight ends work on some blocking. The offensive line, they're hitting sleds, they're hitting sleds, they're hitting sleds. The defense starts with a pursuit drill, then they go with 11 guys out there, then they go into individuals, and they work with their position coaches. It's the same 12 minutes every single time we're out there. And I tell you that to let you know what we're able to observe and what you can expect from us from a content perspective. Now, there are some things we can tell. I can tell who's in a gold no-contact jersey. I can tell who's not there. I can tell who runs through the drills first. I can tell who the position coaches praise for their reps. I can tell who drops a pass. I can tell whose passes are on target. I can tell what offensive linemen work in combination with each other when they work combo blocks and threats. So there is some stuff to be gleaned. It is not earth-shattering stuff. This is not 7-on-7. No interceptions are being thrown. No one-on-one reps are being won. No fights are breaking out. No rushing the passer. No touchdowns are being scored. That's just, we're not seeing that kind of stuff. So with that in mind, you have a reasonable expectation of what we can deliver to you from a content perspective. And y'all have heard me say this 100 times. Lane Kiffin can tell us we can watch the whole practice. He can say, never come on my practice field again. Doesn't make any difference to me. It's easier to do my job with practice access. He's got a job to win football games. Any access we are granted, I'm appreciative of. If it's exorbitant, I think that's awesome. Certainly didn't help Brian Kelly win games last year. Maybe we provided you better content in August. Maybe not. But let's get into what we saw last night. Full pads were on. Gold jerseys. Saw 2 of them. One, saw Jabari Mack, freshman wide receiver, working off to the side in full pads, in a gold jersey, running routes, but only by himself. And he was a long way away. Couldn't tell what the injury may or may not have been, but he was certainly working out. The other gold jersey, Trey'Dez Green. He's important to the team. You want to know about the fact that Trey'Dez Green has a gold jersey on. Why? What's the injury? What's the issue? He doesn't have any injury. He doesn't have any issues. Here's the deal. Trey'Dez Green was in gold all of spring football. He was not in gold the first 2 days of practice when they had no pads on. The day they put the shoulder pads on, he put the gold jersey on. Why? Well, here's the deal. If Bo Bordelon, LSU's starting left guard, were to get hurt, you could plug in the next left guard. If Jace Brown LSU's potential number one wide receiver got hurt. There's another guy, Trey Brown or Winnie Watkins, or take your pick of any of the guys that he brought in, could go play that position. Phillip Wright. If Deuce Gerald's a starting defensive tackle, had to miss 2 drives, you could throw Malik Blockton or Stephon Green in there. There's a replacement for a lot of places on that roster. If the 6'7" basketball player at tight end gets hurt, they don't have another one. He's the only one. So what the staff has decided to do, essentially, is put a gold jersey on Trey'Dez Green as a reminder to the defense, don't hit the freak. Don't hit the guy that's 6'7" that can jump out of the gym. Leave him alone. Okay, so he was in gold, but I didn't see anybody else in gold. So, furthermore, based on the combination blocks that we saw from the offensive line on the sleds, they never line up with 5 straight across that I see. And keep in mind, we're scanning the fields pretty quickly, but I have not seen them line up 5 across on an offensive line yet. That doesn't mean they haven't while I'm out there, but I haven't seen it. So I can't go. They've done it on defense. I've seen that. I haven't seen it on offense. But you're starting to get a sense, looking at the offensive line and the groups that are working together in combination blocks, where they're working guys. Like Jordan Seaton, Bo Bordelon, Braylon Moore, they work in a tandem with the sleds. They're the left side of the starting offensive line. On the right side, it is Aluba, it is Weston Davis. Davis missed the practice over the weekend. He's been back the last 2 days. He's back there. So you know, as we've told you, that the starting 5 dates back to the spring. Seaton, Bordelon, Moore, Ba, Davis. 1 through 5, left to right. But what about the second group? And this is kind of what we're gleaning. I would not testify to this under oath. I would suggest, based on what we've watched, a reasonable deduction is that this is what the second group kind of looks like up front. Sean Tompkins, the Baylor transfer, I believe, is the second team left tackle. He played left tackle for Baylor a couple times last year. I think he's the second left tackle. At left guard, Jaquan Sprinkle was working there yesterday. I'm not completely convinced they wouldn't just plug Devin Harper in, right? Because he was the first guy to run with that position in the spring before Bordelon basically beat him out. But Sprinkle is working at left guard. William Satterwhite is the backup center. He was working there yesterday. And forming the right side of his offensive line with Satterwhite was Darren Stray, the Kentucky transfer, who's really big. He's 6'7". And then on the outside, you saw Devin Harper at right tackle. So here's my guess, and that's what time of year we're in. We're in guessing mode. And I don't want to put bad juju out there in the universe, but I'm covering the team. I'm giving you kind of rotation here. I think if Jordan Seaton went down, I think Sean Tompkins would play left tackle. If Bo Bordelon went down, I think you would see Devin Harper at left guard. If Braylon Moore went down, I think you would see Satterwhite at center. If Aluba went down at right guard, I think you would probably see Devin Harper. And if at right tackle Weston Davis went down, I think you would see Devin Harper. I think Devin Harper is your second guy up at left guard, and right tackle. I think Satterwhite's the next guy up at center, and I think Tompkins is the guy at left tackle. Now, maybe Tompkins would be at right tackle too. Obviously, you can't play 2 positions at once, and they're working Tompkins at the left side. So I can't know this for sure, but I think I'm reasonably deducing what we're looking at there on the offensive line. I will say this, and I phrase it this way for a reason. I did not see Winnie Watkins out there yesterday. I did not chart Winnie Watkins' pass. I have made an early decision that I'm going to try to observe practice instead of just taking roll. Because if I just took roll, that would be all I could do. And it would be really hard to notice a big catch or a one-handed grab or a drop pass or, you know, whatever the case may be. It would be hard to observe anything at practice if I was just taking roll because we only have 12 minutes. I did not see Winnie Watkins out there yesterday. I charted the passes Sam Levitt threw, and I got reps from Jackson Harris and Corey Barber and Malik Elzy and Jace Brown and Trey Wilson and Phillip Wright and Trey Brown and Roman Mothershed. I got a lot of reps from a lot of different guys. I did not chart one from Winnie Watkins, so there's a possibility that he has not been there. I would say a likelihood that he has not been there last couple of practices. No word on that, and we'll see if Lane Kiffin addresses it next time we're able to talk to him. But it's something that I thought I would pass along. It's perfectly conceivable that he came out there after we practiced, or he was somewhere else doing something else that I didn't see. This is not a throw up the red flags here. We've got a Wendy Watkins issue. I didn't see him, and I wanted to pass that along to you all as well. Anything else? Oh, the two things from practice yesterday as I go through my notebook. The catch of the day was Trey'Dez Green. There was only one ball that Sam Levitt threw that hit the ground in the entire time he worked with the tight ends and the wide receivers. This one should have. It was an out route, like a crossing route that Trey'Dez got to the other side of the field, and the ball was way behind Trey'Dez, and he just reached out and just grabbed it with one hand and pulled it back in, which was probably the catch of the day. I enjoyed that. The other thing that I thought was interesting is right when we got out there, they were working on handoff drills, which I told you they do right when we get out there every time. The first thing we see right in front of our face when we walk beyond that fence is the quarterbacks going through handoff drills. And more often than not, it's RPO stuff, it's read option stuff from the shotgun. But when we got out there last night, first thing we saw, they were working under center. The running back was way back in what was an I formation type look with no fullback, but that's the depth they were at. And the quarterbacks were taking the snaps from under center, retreating and handing the ball off in a very traditional way, which I haven't seen a lot of. And I fully expect that LSU will spend the majority of its time, the vast majority of its time, in the shotgun, no question. But they were working on some under center stuff when we got out there yesterday, which I took note of. That's the kind of thing that we can see. No alignments, no plays, no 7-on-7, but working on some under center handoffs, good. And look, anything they do to get that running game going, I'm here for it. Completely here for it. Anything they do. I just got asked in a hit that I did for an SEC podcast, like, what are you excited to see? And I was like, I'm excited to see him run the ball for 6 yards on a play. Just one time do that, because I just haven't seen it in 2 years. So they were working under center. I thought that was interesting as well. We have access to practice tomorrow morning and Friday morning. So we'll get to see before the next two shows a fresh practice report for y'all at 1 o'clock. So looking forward to that. But just laying it out there, what we saw in our 12 minutes of night practice last night. You can always read our practice reports for free on LouisianaSports.net. All right, Renaissance Homes and Pools brings you our Wednesday shows each and every week. We'll step aside, come back, and talk to Luke Johnson from Saints Camp next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. They can handle a remodel soup to nuts. One of the things that David really likes to do is to take one of those dated bathroom designs that maybe has that silo standalone shower that's kind of small, and then the big bathtub next to it that a lot of people just don't use that big bathroom, and you're kind of jammed into a smaller shower. What he'll do is he'll take that smaller shower and turn that into a linen closet, which is obviously very functional in your bathroom, and that's the perfect space for it. And then take that space that the tub is being used for and turn that into your shower space. It just transforms your bathroom right there. It makes it look more aesthetically pleasing. It's more functional for you if you take way more showers than baths. Add some value to your home as well. And David can handle all of it. Plumbing, floors, vanity, the whole deal. You call one contractor, One Bath and Closets, and David and his team can make that happen for you. So if you've always been looking at your bathroom going, man, this is not what I want, or maybe it's not functional anymore, it's just dated, and you want a refresher, One Bath and Closets can do it. Find them on the website, onebathandclosets.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com. That's builtbyrenaissance.com. Luke Johnson covering the black and gold, usually with us on Thursdays, but going to make an exception for us this week and join us a little bit early. Does so on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how are you, sir?
Doing fantastic, man. Thanks as always for having me on.
Always our pleasure. I was reading the old Twitter timeline. It seems like offense still a little clunky these days. What's your overall assessment of Kellen Moore and Tyler Shuck's offense through a couple of weeks of camp?
Yeah, it just hasn't looked good. I mean, just being frank, we're 11 practices into it. I think really really you can just go on one practice where the offense kind of definitively won the day. So I mean, it's just it's just a reality where we're at right now with this team. I think that you can explain it away in a lot of different ways. They added so many pieces to this offense. They got to figure out how everybody works together. The defense is effectively the same unit as last year, minus 2 guys, and they replaced them with good veteran players. So you'd kind of expect the defense to be ahead, but at the same time, like, you got to see it, and it's just whether it's Shuck being kind of like not having the communication down, or if not the communication, just like the timing down with Chris Olave, which I think has definitely played a part in this, whether it's just the defense that, it maybe is going to be really good this year. They've been just kind of harassing him with pressure, harassing Tyler Shuck with pressure like this whole camp. I just don't know. I think it's going to be fine eventually, but through 11 days, it's just, it just hasn't looked kind of like the unit we were basing a lot of our hope and optimism on with, the Saints football team right now.
I can only go to my firsthand account, which is at LSU. We're obviously not at Saints camp, and you are. But like last year, LSU could not block the defensive line. They could not run the ball to do it, and every time Nussmeier tried to drop back, he was just flushed out or had nowhere to go. And that was a consistent theme. Like, it wasn't, there was a lot of things going on. That was clearly the issue they couldn't deal with. Is there something that happens more often than not where the offensive line either can't block them or nobody's open or Shuck doesn't know where to throw it? Or, like, is there an injury that comes up more than others?
No, I think one of the things that I've just kind of noticed throughout this camp is especially early on, they weren't doing a lot of vertical stuff with the offense. A lot of the passing game was kind of revolving around the tight ends and the running backs. And that, to me, I was just like, okay, Jalen Polk retired, and then Jordan Tyson missed most of the summer, and he's just now getting his first competitive reps with Tyler Shuck under center. Chris Olave was a hold-in. But we started to see more of that lately, and it just hasn't really clicked. I do think there's something to the fact that Olave missed so much time, both in it's not just that in training camp. It was he didn't do a lot of the summer stuff too because of the blood clots. I think his timing with Shuck is just off. If without having the actual stats in front of me, if I went back and looked at their completion percentage, it's probably hovering around 50% right now. Whenever Shuck is targeting Olave, I fully expect that to just be normal when the season comes around. Olave is too good, and I still think Tyler Shuck is going to be a really good quarterback. To me, that's what it really kind of boils down to, is they haven't really gotten their main playmakers going yet, and we've seen bits and pieces of it. We've seen it in spurts, but it's just never been consistent throughout this training camp. So that's problem number one to me. And problem number two, I think Chase Young is going to be unreal this year, and he's been giving a lot of those guys problems. He's been getting into the backfield and making life really difficult back there. I think the run game, for as much as the offense has kind of struggled, I think the run game's looked pretty good. I think Travis Etienne is going to be a really nice fit in this offense. Just the way he runs seems to fit what they want to do from a blocking standpoint. He's very patient, and when he finds the hole, he goes. And I think that's going to benefit everything once they get into live football situations. But if we're just basing it off of what we've seen in training camp, it's hard to be super optimistic about what this offense can be. They just need to kind of start finding some consistency there.
Does Kellen Moore seem concerned? I realize he's not one to emote very much to the media.
Yeah, that is an understatement, my friend. I asked him about it today because we've kind of bits and pieces been hey, you worried about Tyler? And today was really the first time he's it's got to be better, and again, I really don't want to make too much out of this. They still have 3 joint practices and 3 preseason games before the regular season even starts. But at this stage, they are not where they should be. They're not where you'd want them to be, especially if you're talking about a team that you kind of envision taking this big step forward offensively this year because of all the pieces they added. So I think that's just kind of where I'm at on it right now. And Kellen Moore is probably in the same boat. This is the time of year where you need to struggle. right? But just kind of what he alluded to when I asked him about it. It's like if you're gonna look clunky, this is when you do it so you can get it fixed. But it's just the fact of the matter is that it has looked clunky for 2 weeks or whatever we've been doing for training camp.
Luke Johnson's with us, covers the Saints for NOLA.com and The Advocate. What has Tyler Shuck said? Anything more? Has he been more forthcoming than Kellen Moore?
It's just the way the Saints operate during training camp. We talked to Shuck on the very first day, and we haven't talked to him since.
Okay.
So I would imagine that he's probably in the same boat as Kellen Moore, right? Where he wants them to be, he wants them to go out there and win in practice every single day. But the fact of the matter is they're working on stuff. So that would. Yeah, I'm obviously projecting a little bit for him here since I haven't talked to him, but I would imagine he sees things very similar to the head coach, and this is obviously this is the time of year to work on things, right? And to try new stuff and see if it works or not. But I just think everybody who's been watching this team closely and diagramming everything and jotting every play down. It's just we're all noticing. It's not where they definitely not where they want it to be at this stage. I'll just put it that way.
Anything to the effect that maybe against the Jaguars team that doesn't know what's coming as quickly, that they may find a little bit more success against rather than someone that's so familiar with them that they see every week?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing it tomorrow because that's I am going to be watching the offense tomorrow, right? My colleague and I are splitting up, and I'm going to the offensive side of the ball, and that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, I think the Jags have some really good defensive playmakers. They were a good defense last year. And, you're getting into these situations where you don't know what they're calling, and you can't just understand fully what that team's doing because you're seeing them in practice every day and you know what their coach likes to call. This is all new, right? And they're doing it without film study. I'm assuming, at least, unless they're out there grinding Jags tape for joint practices. But it's a little bit more of a real evaluation. So I'm excited to see tomorrow if the offense looks a little bit better than it has throughout camp. If I think that'll tell you something about the Saints defense too, because it's one of the things is that like I said earlier, they are bringing back so much of that unit from last year. And Staley's such a smart coordinator, and I think that defense, outside of Chase Young, I don't think you had a lot of superstar players on there, but you got a lot of really smart guys, guys who know where they're supposed to be. It's a really buttoned up unit, which I think is contributed to the offense just looking kind of clunky. So I'm really looking forward to watching those guys against a different team tomorrow to see if it looks any different.
Open-ended question here, but obviously with the injuries to Cam Jordan, Brzee, Christian Miller for a time there, what's your overall feel on the depth of the defensive line and who's out there right now?
I actually feel pretty good about it. Chase, obviously, he's been tremendous. I think Carl Granderson's had a really good camp. I've liked what I've seen out of Anthony Jennings and Tyree Wilson. And Vernon Broughton, I think, is somebody that they're very high on, and there's flashes of it. You can see why, which is hard to do as an interior defensive lineman with no live tackling. But he's flashed. I think he's been impressive. And you're going to get out of Gottschall. He's going to eat up blocks on first and second down. He's going to be a good player in that regard. I think they're fine there, even with some of the attrition. I like what we've seen in the limited view of Christian Miller. He's just such a big, strong dude. I think they're going to be okay. Honestly, just kind of across the board on defense, I feel better about them now than I did, 15 days ago or whatever when they opened camp. I just think that some of the depth questions are not as pressing as they were to me early on. And again, this is we're watching Saints against Saints. This stuff could totally be exposed because there's a weak spot that we just don't understand watching them go against the same team every single day. But as of right now, I feel pretty good even with some of the attrition there.
I'll ask this a different way than I asked Ross Jackson on Monday and Sharif Ishak yesterday. Do you think it's likely that the Saints' Week 9 kicker is on the roster right now?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think one of one of Charlie Smith or Tanner Brown is going to be their guy. And I think, like, let's say for instance that Tanner Brown wins the job. Like, I think they'll still try to bring Charlie Smith back in the practice squad because you still get the exemption for him. And, obviously if there's a market for him, if somebody claims him off waivers, you can't really do much about that. But, so like, I think there's a world where, maybe the week 1 kicker is not the week 9 kicker, but I think they're still on the roster right now. Both of those guys are really, really talented. With Charlie specifically, I think the problem has been consistency, and really just consistency in practice. He started something like 15 of 16, and then he had 2 straight days where he went 3 for 6, and that's where you start to worry and wonder if he can really be the guy in the NFL. But the talent's never a question. I mean, 60 yards and in, he's got the leg for it. No question about that. It's just, are you going to hit the 42-yarder every time? And I think Brown has been a little bit more consistent in camp, but both of them are like, big leg guys. I don't think it's like a situation like it was with punter for the last like 5 years, where they kept like the worst punter in the NFL on the roster for 17 games every year. Yeah. I think they've got somebody who's going to be a serviceable kicker for them. And if you can just live with the growing pains, you can see a world where both of them could be really good NFL kickers. But I think there's also a chance that you got some growing pains you got to deal with.
Luke, we appreciate the time. Enjoy those practices and some real football. Well, to an extent, real football this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be the Spencer Rattler Bowl, baby. I'm ready.
He's Luke Johnson with NOLA.com and The Advocate covering the Saints. You can read his stuff and certainly catch him with us every single Thursday, our Saints stuff, or every single Thursday generally, unless it's this week, which we bumped him up to Wednesday. But you can find our Saints stuff at Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your sound, or on YouTube as well. When we come back, got some interesting questions for What If Wednesday, a little bit of Saints and LSU flavor to it. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Gotros Outdoor Power. Gotros Outdoor Power. It's August. Grass is growing. You need a new zero-turn mower. Well, you look no further than the folks at Gotros Outdoor Power. Their summer clearance sale going on throughout the month of August. You can get up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero-turn. 0% financing is available as well. Again, up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero-turns. And look, they've got the largest Hustler inventory in the state of Louisiana. National Hustler Deal of the Year in 2 of the last 3 years. It's Gotros Outdoor Power. 2 locations, Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, 1 in Gonzales. If you've got a property that needs maintenance, or you've got a zero-turn that you feel like might be on its last leg and you're looking to get into the market for a new one, check in with the family-owned and operated company, Gotros Outdoor Power. They've been at it for 22 years, and they can certainly help you out with that. It's Gotros Outdoor Power. They're online at GotrosOnline.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Hunt Palmer Show brought to you by Marucci. Become a member of the Hitter's House over there at Marucci. 24/7 key card access to the facilities over there. You can take your hacks, work on some pitching. If you got a youth baseballer or softballer and they're year-round, game never sleeps, and everybody's focused on football right now, they can still get their baseball work in. They can still get their softball work in at Marucci in the Hitter's House. You can also take a tour, learn how they went from a backyard shed to the official bat of Major League Baseball. The best players in the world swing Marucci, and it's born right here in Baton Rouge. So take a tour, learn their story, see where they make 1,200 bats every single day. It's all there at Marucci. Check them out online. You can buy tickets to the campus tour or become a member at the Hitter's House at MarucciSports.com, MarucciSports.com. Busy second hour coming at you. In 30 minutes, we'll restart our Meet the Freshman campaign with a couple of guys in this freshman class we've gotten a little bit of a look at in fall camp. Kellen Moore met with the media today. We'll get into some of that in about 45 minutes or so. If you missed my LSU practice report at the top of the show, you can go back and catch that on demand. You can find it Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your sound. But for right now, it's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
All right, so what if you could choose a pro sports team to own? Try to take out your personal bias.
So I can't just pick the Cubs?
Nah, you can't do the
just take
Cubs. Leave the Cubs alone. Don't leave them alone.
I mean, obviously, this is rooted in the fact that the Lakers sold for $12 billion today.
After being sold a year before that.
For 10. So, got turned around and made a quick $2 billion. It's not a bad gig.
It's a normal day.
If you can get it. Everything has its advantages and disadvantages. If you own a football team, that's 17 big ones a year.
Yeah.
I like the vibe of the baseball, and so I would lean towards the Dodgers are obviously massively lucrative. The Yankees are right there in the mix as well.
Okay.
I think that I might lean Yankees. That's just like it's a mega brand. It's in such an amazing city. I've obviously got some coin in my pocket, and I feel like that's just going to be something that's going to be valuable. That's going to increase in value over and over and over again because there's no shortage of Yankees fans and interest in the Yankees moving forward. The television contract's good. I would probably go Major League Baseball, and I would probably go with Yankees. It's I've got that much money. I need something to do. I get 162 baseball games out of it instead of the 17 football games. So I'll take it.
I ain't gonna lie.
The NFL teams are worth more.
I have my eyes solely set on the Miami Heat. I get to have all that money. I live in South Florida. I'm the king of Miami.
I thought about the Marlins, but that's a really empty baseball stadium.
The Heat, I actually get some celebrities coming to my games. They ain't going to the Marlins games.
The Lakers are a good buy.
Most definitely.
And, I could also get down with the Red Sox.
Red Sox?
But I would probably go with the Yankees.
Okay. We can go with the Yankees. So what if none of the international players rumored to be hailing to LSU are eligible?
It's a question. Here's the deal. Let me just catch you up on a little bit of this because I wrote about this in my mailbag. They have the 4 standard college transfers listed on the website. None of the international players are. We know that Jan Madar is not coming. I have not heard anything about Bryce Desert.
Okay.
I have heard that Saliu Niang has been in Baton Rouge, and I feel like Michael Ruzic, who's the 18-year-old from Croatia, I feel like he's the most reasonable to get eligible. He's 18 years old. He did play professionally, but there have been a lot of pros that have come over, and he hasn't made enough money to be ineligible, and he's certainly not too old to play. He's 18.
Yeah, 18.
So if none of them are eligible, they have to get a bunch of these fifth-year guys, and there are still a lot of them out there, y'all. Here's my thing. It's not that there are no players available. It's that I don't understand why a conversation I had a month ago where it was communicated to me that they had some commitments from some of these fifth-year guys and that they were going to get those across the finish line. I don't understand why everyone else is getting these commitments and LSU's not.
Yeah.
The lack of public information with what should be pretty straightforward transfers. They have the 4 American college transfers on the list. Where are these fifth-year guys that should just be slam dunk eligible? That is my concern. I don't know about the international guys. RJ Lewis has been here, but I don't know if he's going to be eligible or not. But the standard fifth-year guys who jumped in the portal on a transfer, and they're committing places left and right. Arizona just got one. Louisville just got one. Kentucky got one. Where are the LSU ones? I don't understand the lack of information. And so if none of the guys that are international are going to be eligible, you're going to have to load the shelves with these fifth-year guys, and they're all committing places at times. There's still some out there, but I'd love someone to show up.
Especially because school's starting. So
yeah, in 2 weeks.
We want them on campus. So what if you can keep either Kellen Moore or Tyler Shuck and the other was gone tomorrow? That's a hard question. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. Neither cemented himself last year. Both made improvements over the course of the year. I would take Shuck.
Okay.
With the understanding that he could still bust. There's a possibility, but I like the odds there. There's more benefit in Shuck being great than Moore being great, even though there is benefit in the head coach being really, really good. There's no question. Sean Payton nearly got to the Super Bowl with Bo Nix last year until he got hurt.
Kyle Shanahan, I know he got over the hump, but Jimmy G, think about that.
But I'm not ready to put Kellen Moore in that group yet. So I'll if they had gotten a proven stalwart head coach and the quarterback was brand new, I might lean coach, but I'll take my chances with Shuck with Moore going out the window, and we'll see.
Oh man, I can't even answer this question. This is too hard because we don't have enough data to show who is actually the one pulling the strings, like some Tom Brady and Bill Belichick type of situation. So, what if you could make one socially acceptable year round? Crawfish, king cake, or gumbo?
I love them all. I love crawfish. I really do love king cake, even though some people say it's overrated just because you only have it in such a short time, but I think it's really good. And then gumbo is delicious. Love it, but I'm never going to eat gumbo unless it's cold outside. I'm just not. I don't need gumbo. It's 101 out there. I can't be eating spicy sausage soup. It's just not going to work. So gumbo is right where it needs to be. It's November through February, and that's where it's going to be. Crawfish is my answer here.
Easy.
It's my answer here. It's warm enough around here that
Every
we can
year.
go outside and eat all the time. I can eat crawfish if it's 52 degrees outside.
Yes.
Like, I would be okay with it, and I'd still want to drink a cold beer with it, so that's good. Crawfish is the answer. I'll take them. I'd take king cake year round. I would eat it if it was around in the break room all year round. Gumbo, no, that needs to be when it's cold. But crawfish is the answer.
Most definitely crawfish. I feel like you can go to a restaurant and order gumbo.
You can. I'm just not doing it.
You know, you can still do that. So it's like crawfish, perfect.
Gumbo is the ticket for me with gumbo is LSU plays a night game Saturday night. I don't get off until 1. I don't go to sleep until 2:30 or so.
Yeah.
Sunday's going to be a lazy day. We're probably going to get out, get the kids up, go to church, come back, Saints are on. And then if it's cold outside, it's 48 degrees on a Sunday and I've been out, like, I want to make a gumbo.
Yeah.
That is the ticket for gumbo, but I don't want it on August 3rd. It's just not going to work.
Okay, my one question would be, does it matter that LSU won that game?
No.
Okay,
it
doesn't matter.
Lazy. I'm gonna make a roux. Gonna get it in the pot. Get the house smelling good. It's a Sunday dish in the Palmer house.
Okay. So, what have you got to pick between the new arena and the new outfield seating at the box?
So I either snap my fingers and I get the new arena built for men's basketball, women's basketball, gymnastics, and concerts and whatnot, or I snap my fingers and they redo the outfield seating at the box, which I think stinks. I think it's bad that they took the old bleachers from the old box and moseyed them down Nicholson and posted them up in left field. I think that's bad. If you told me I got one of the two,
Only one.
I'll put the caveat in. I actually don't hate the PMAC. I don't think it's a terrible place to watch a game. I realize the seats are small. But I would take the new arena. A brand new, gorgeous arena that brings in like concerts and stuff that has an entertainment district around it like they do at Texas. Like, that's the ticket. I feel bad for the people that sit out in the outfield at the box in February. You just freeze out there on those bleachers, and come regional time, June 11th, it's 1,000 degrees out there. I feel bad about that. But for the good of everybody, give me the new arena. Sorry for ballpark that. 900 people that are sitting out in the outfield. Sorry about it.
So that's it for What If Wednesday.
All right, that's it for What If Wednesday. I really wish they did a better job with the outfield seating at the box. I say this all the time. Like, the box is really good in a lot of different departments that the folks that sit in the games never see. The players have a gorgeous locker room. They have great meeting room facility. They have a pitch lab that's sensational. They've got training facilities that are great. There are some really cool places under that no one ever goes that are really good for the players. The coach's office are big and they're together. They've got a great space up front where the receptionist sits and whatnot. They've got the facility out front. And then if you go up, like the press box for us has a lot of room in it. It's nice. Like, they've got spot for the PA and the visiting radio and the home radio and the television. Like, there are a lot of things that are good about the box, and the seating in the grandstand is good. It's just when you get out beyond the bases and it's all bleachers, that's just a tough look. It just is.
Is it because? Well, I'm gonna say is it because was seeing the dude this year just like changed? Like, it's like, nah, man, we need some upgrades. Because you came back like the dude was beautiful.
I knew how good it was, and it was incredible. And I'm hoping to go to Fayetteville this year and see. But there's some creativity at a lot of the places. South Carolina's got chairbacks all the way. Arkansas's got the great berm. The dude had those berms on the side, but A&M's got that berm on the side as well. Even Tennessee, they don't have a berm, but they built like a party deck out in left field that's like triple deck and creates a cool space. Same thing at Ole Miss, where they've got the place where the students sit. They've also got like a family area with the barbecue pits and whatnot. And like, there's just some character to it. And there's no character to the box. You just got bleachers going down the sides and bleachers in the outfield. They do have backs on them, thankfully, but like, it's just sterile.
Yeah.
And that's a bummer. But it is what it is. All right, let's step aside. Close out hour number 1 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com. That's builtbyrenaissance.com. My guy Joey Blanchard is awesome, and he can help you step by step get into the pool of your dreams. I know that school's back in now and that summer's in the rearview mirror. It's still going to be well warm enough to swim for a couple of months around here. But if you want to make sure that that was your last summer without a pool, contact my guy Joey Blanchard. He'll start you off with that consultation, and then they'll go through with the design. He'll be right there every step of the way. When they dig the pool, Joey will be there. When they fill the pool, Joey will be there. When they finish the pool, Joey will be there. He's local. He's done this for dozens and dozens and dozens of Baton Rouge homeowners over the years, and he's happy to do it for you. And you work with the owner of the company, which is a great aspect of working with a local company. If you want to add an outdoor kitchen to your pool space, have that outdoor area you've always wanted to host, especially during the fall for football season, Joey can help you with all of it. It's built by Renaissance.com, and you can find Joey. Just send him a text, 225-252-7745. Again, that's 225-252-7745, or online at builtbyrenaissance.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. I've been telling you all month long about the great deals you can get on trucks at Fabry Chevrolet GMC right now, and they're still rolling along with those awesome deals. If you want a Chevy Silverado, a 2026 1500, you can get it for 0% APR financing for 5 years, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. That's 3 months without payments. That's now until August 31st. And if you want a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500, that's 2.9 APR for 72 months, plus an additional 1,500 in allowance all month long. And what they wanted me to communicate is that they've got pre-owned vehicles that can meet any budget. So if you're in the market for a pre-owned vehicle and you'd like to see what they have, you can go to the website, FabryChevrolet.com, and see. You can search by make and model, search by, of course, the mileage or the price, and see what they have that may be in stock for you. Make that short trip up Highway 61 in St. Francisville and go see them at Fabry Chevrolet GMC, again online at FabryChevrolet.com. I wanted to spend a little bit of time on this. It's not super in-depth, and it's just my opinion in watching things with my own eyes. But I watched the Tiger receivers run through some drills yesterday, run through some routes, and just kind of trying to parse apart skill sets as I see them. Because if y'all heard me earlier this week, I was like, I just am having a hard time deciphering who's what in that wide receiver room. I don't know a huge difference between Jace Browns and Winnie Watkins, or between Trey Brown and Trey Wilson, or between Roman Mothershed and Malik Elsey, or within Phillip Wright or Corey Barber. There's just a lot of different guys that all appear to be pretty talented to me, and I just don't see someone who is consistently outperforming the rest of the guys. So what are they looking for? What is the coaching staff looking for to make those delineations to determine who's going to get the lion's share of the reps and who maybe isn't? And I keep coming back to a couple of things. There are always guys at the front of the line, and that is one of the things we can go off of. Jace Brown is always at the front of the line. Trey Wilson is always at the front of the line. Jackson Harris is always at the front of the line. Those guys are always going first, and I pay attention to that. Trey Wilson, I said this in the spring, but I'll obviously reiterate here as we get closer to the opener. His suddenness is noticeable out there. He is quicker with his change of direction, his get to full speed. His suddenness is better than everyone else out there, by my eye. And that's why he's a 5-star recruit. He's an all-SEC freshman, all-American freshman who had a big game against Georgia last year and one of the few games he was healthy for. I think he's going to have an impactful role on this team, probably in the mid-range, the intermediate passing game, the short passing game. He's noticeable to me. I've said since they started camp, dating back to the spring, that I thought Jace Brown was the number one receiver. I've seen nothing to pull me off of that. He's just smooth, in control, and makes catches. I like watching him run routes, even though they're not going one-on-one against anybody. Those two guys, to me, have a skill set that I notice when I'm out there. And then I think it's going to be interesting who the physical presence is at wide receiver. I think that I would bet on Jackson Harris, and I feel pretty good about that. But I think the staff likes Malik Elsie. He didn't do much at Illinois, but they like to watch him go. He runs toward the front of the line at times. And then I keep noticing Philip Wright's speed is just something that has stood out to me. He might be a year away because you figure Jace Brown will be gone, Trey Wilson will be gone, Trey Brown might be gone, Jackson Harris is probably gone. There are a lot of guys who probably move on, and maybe Philip Wright is a year away from being an impactful guy and using that speed and filling out a little bit more. Maybe he and Corey Barber are a year away. That's a reasonable suggestion. But Philip Wright can really run. He can really run. And what I know about Lane Kiffin is he likes to create confusion by formation, motion, and route combinations, and then beat that confusion with speed. And Philip Wright's faster than the other guys in this list. So I'm not ruling him out either. I think there's a possibility he's a real factor. I think it's Jace Brown, Trey Wilson, Jackson Harris. But I can't rule out Elsie. I can't rule out Watkins. I can't rule out White. I don't want to rule out Trey Brown from Old Dominion. It goes back to the segment earlier in this week, and there are a lot of guys vying for a lot of spots, but I'm trying to notice traits and maybe where they fit. And I think I'm sensing what the top of that depth chart is, but my confidence level, it's not through the roof. I'm very curious to see how it shakes out on game day. Not because I want to know how productive LSU is going to be. I think they're productive with whatever combination they find. They've got enough pieces to make it work. But I just don't know which pieces come to the forefront. I think it's going to be fascinating. Very interesting to see when they play Clemson. That's it for hour number 1. We'll pause for Sports Center. We'll come back in 5 minutes with Meet the Freshman, Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com. That's lifetimeroofingla.com. It's a Baton Rouge owned and operated roofing company. Louisiana roots, Baton Rouge roots, LSU guys. But they can help the entire state of Louisiana and over into Houston. But the key is that they're local, and you can trust them in a time of need. They understand that oftentimes when roofers are brought in, there's been some sort of event, weather event, tree falls, whatever the case may be. There's a big event, and they're here to serve, and they want to help the people of South Louisiana. So if you've had something happen at your home or a storm does blow through and you're thinking about which roofer to use, you've got options. Lifetime Roofing would like to be your local option here in South Louisiana. You can trust them as they've been in this community their entire lives. You've got a lifetime workmanship warranty, 0% financing. It's Lifetime Roofing, online at lifetimeroofingla.com.